The good times that made us laugh outweigh the bad. I thought we'd get to see forever, but forever is gone away. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. Hello, I'm Jackson Haney from Insane Internet Wrestling, and let's talk about former WWE Chairman and CEO Vincent Kennedy McMahon. So, as I'm sure all of you are aware by now, July 22nd, 2022 will go down in history as one of the weirdest and most memorable days in pro wrestling history. Because yesterday, July 22nd, 2022, Vince McMahon officially retired as WWE Chairman and CEO, putting an end to an era of wrestling that has gone on for nearly 40 years. In those 40 years, we have seen Vince McMahon grow from a backstage interviewer to a commentator to the on-screen and behind-the-scenes owner of the company / the most insane person to ever exist, to a guy that would show up whenever ratings needed a boost. And now he's an artifact of wrestling history, shall I say. It's definitely going to be weird not having Vince around, because not only did he step down as the CEO and chairman of the company, but he also stepped down as head of creative, meaning that whoever he left in charge could or couldn't, we never know, but oh well, they could make some changes that might have been desperately needed for some time now. But more on that in a second. Let's just talk about Vince himself. I don't think we should remember Vince as this guy who made a lot of terrible decisions during his nearly 4 decades with the company, even though he certainly did make a lot of horrible decisions. I feel like we should remember Vince. And it sounds like I'm talking about him as he died, but he's not. He just stepped down. I feel like we should remember Vince's time with WWE as revolutionary. And we should remember Vince, the CEO, as an icon, a pioneer of the professional wrestling industry. Without Vince, AEW doesn't exist. WCW never would have been a thing. TNA, New Japan, Ring of Honor, none of these companies would have gotten the mainstream global popularity that they've gotten without Vince McMahon taking WWF from a small area in New York to the entire nation, and as the years went on, the entire globe. Because remember, before Vince decided to take WWF nationwide, wrestling wasn't a mainstream attraction. It was certainly popular in certain areas, definitely. But nationwide? Not particularly. Not in the same way that the NFL or the NBA was. But once the 80s rolled around, once Vince McMahon took over WWF from his father, that's when things really started to change. He is the reason why so many people know about WWE and why wrestling is as big of an industry as it is today. Without Vince McMahon, some of the most famous people on the entire planet, you'd never even know who they were. You wouldn't know Randy Orton. You wouldn't know Hulk Hogan. You wouldn't know The Rock. You wouldn't know John Cena. You wouldn't know anybody. Because without Vince, those are just ordinary people. But Vince's ingenuity and Vince's, shall I call it, creative genius made them into superstars and universally recognized icons. Even during WWF's lowest point during the May 90s, Vince persisted. Throughout the Monday Night Wars, throughout the Attitude Era when they won the Monday Night Wars, Vince persisted, never once backed down from a fight, and eventually he came out victorious, buying WCW. And without that, WWE probably would have crumbled, probably would have filed for bankruptcy, and I'd be talking about WCW right now. But the sheer willpower of Vince McMahon allowed WWE to thrive for all these years, even though so many people have stopped watching. Heck, I have stopped watching it on a weekly basis because, well, it's terrible from a quality standpoint. Even with that, I still tune into it periodically because it's been a large force in my life for the past 5 years. I've been a wrestling fan for 5 years. God, I'm old. And I still say to this day, I used to say it and I still say it now, that wrestlers like The Undertaker, Roman Reigns, John Cena, those guys are the reason that I got into wrestling. But without Vince, they wouldn't exist. So, all credit really does go to Vince here. But enough reminiscing for now, on to the current stuff. It has been reported that Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan, for those of you who don't know, Nick Khan is the president of WWE, those two will be the co-chair people and CEOs of WWE. I assume with Steph acting as the on-screen CEO and chairman now, or chairwoman, I guess. Remember the days when we thought that Shane or Triple H would take over the company once Vince retired? Those were good times, weren't they? For those of you who don't know, Shane has been gone from the company since about February, and Triple H is just now getting back into his position of head of talent relations and all that after severe health problems that put him on the sideline. And now, Stephanie is in charge, and Nick Khan too, but who cares about Nick Khan, really? Anyway, this begs a few different questions. First, is the product going to change overall? And honestly, I don't know. I mean, it might. I'm thinking it will, but I don't think it's going to change a whole lot. I think there are going to be certain aspects of the product that will be different from, say, a year ago, maybe less. But I don't think it's going to change drastically like we've all been hoping for. I think they're going to pay respect to Vince's creativity and Vince's ideas by keeping some of the things that he brought in and just letting them play out. And once the time comes, that's when change will come. Second, does Triple H getting his position back, does that have an effect on it? God, I hope so, because I hope NXT is going back to the ways of old. I've been meaning to talk about this for a while, and I think I have. I don't remember. I haven't been on this channel in a while. Sorry about that, by the way. But I hate the new version of NXT. Keeping it short and sweet, I just think it's bad now. Like, I think it's gone full WWE and not the best of the WWE and the best of the indies like I said it was. I'm going to make a whole video on it, hopefully. But, yeah, I just don't like the modern version of NXT. I hope that Triple H gets control of it again and takes it back to its former glory. Like, obviously, he's not going to have a lot to work with because, well, everybody left. But still, God, I hope NXT changes. And the final question, what will change? What will be different now that Vince McMahon is gone and other people have taken over? It's a good question that I don't think has a clear answer right now. I mean, it's so soon after he left or retired or whatever. So, yeah, I don't think it's a question that has a solid, concrete answer right now. In time, that answer may come to fruition, but yeah, I can't form an opinion on it right now, if I'm being 100% honest. And I haven't even mentioned that Vince stepped down in the midst of allegations of stuff. You can look up the stuff. I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to. But bottom line is this. Now that Vince has stepped down, things maybe different. It's definitely gonna feel different knowing that Vince isn't behind the scenes, but it's gonna be weird. But we can say this: he won his final match at WrestleMania. He beat Pat McAfee, but he won his final match. Well played, Vince. We'll miss you. I'm Jackson Haney from Insane Internet Wrestling, and I'll see you soon.